Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu met at the White House earlier today, and they are discussing their further plans for Gaza and all of the fuckery going on in the Middle East. I don't know, what's the word for it? Goat fuck? I don't know. This is something really disastrous and dastardly. There is this really interesting little article here. Gottheimer and Lawler present a bill to send bunker buster bombs to Israel. So the bombs that we dropped on the supposed nuclear site in the side of the mountain that they dropped like 30 bunker buster bombs on, 30,000 pound bunker buster bombs, that has become a little bit too difficult for us to do now. So we're just going to go ahead and send them, Israel, the planes and the bombs so they can start doing it for us. I mean, after all, they are our proxy in the Middle East. They are the 51st state. Israel must be able to defend itself against Iran and ensure that Iran cannot rebuild its nuclear capabilities. Well, I thought you destroyed them all, Don. You told me it was a total obliteration. We obliterated it. It was a word a day. I found it on the calendar, and I told all the people in the White House to make sure they said obliterate. July 3rd, bipartisan legislation introduced in the House on Wednesday calls for Washington to send Israel the sort of bunker buster bombs that it needed the United States to drop last month on underground Iranian nuclear sites. Representative Josh Gottheimer and Mike Lawler. Thank you, Mike Lawler. Great representative from the great state of New York. Man, we got to do something about that in 2026. As well as Jared Moskowitz, a Democrat from Florida, a guy who pretends to be a progressive, but he is completely bought and paid for by AIPAC. Tom Suozzi, another lovely Democrat from New York, who, by the way, somebody needs to run against them. Somebody needs to get rid of that son of a bitch. And Juan Vargas introduced legislation that would authorize the United States to send bombs and required aircraft to bear them to the Jewish state. The lawmakers said giving the weapons to Israel would enhance the U.S. security as well because they are the 51st state. Noting the attacks by Iran and its proxies against the United States service members and facilities. Iran, the leading sponsor of terror. Who did 9/11? Was it Iran or was it Saudi Arabia? Can't say that, man. We've got a huge deal going on with them for them to buy big weapons from us. So, it's definitely not Saudi Arabia. It's got to be Iran. Iran has killed scores of Americans. I don't know what he's talking about. Is he talking about 1979? What the fuck is he talking about? Killed scores of Americans, including our service members, and repeated attacks. By the way, is he talking about the soldiers at all of the bases, the couple of dozen bases we have surrounding the entirety of Iran? Is that what he's talking about? Yeah, man, we're the victims with all the military bases surrounding them. A country that did not attack us, we dropped bombs on them. But Donald Trump, he's not a war guy, man. He's a peace guy. He's a dove, man. He's a dove. Israel must be able to defend herself against Iran and ensure that Iran cannot rebuild its nuclear capabilities. What a bunch of fucking horseshit. Here's one. This one's, God damn, this pisses me off. Israel jets bombed Gaza while returning from Iran mission. They had bombs left over from the bombing in Iran, but to save fuel, so they say, they had to get rid of some of their cargo on their plane. And their cargo on their plane happened to be bombs that they just decided to use as a dumping ground on Gaza. Israel warplanes involved in a mission against Iran dropped unused bombs and missiles on Gaza before landing. Military sources have confirmed that from the early hours of the campaign, pilots on their way home to Israel offered to use leftover munitions against Hamas. Yeah, man, look at all that Hamas down there, just standing in the rubble. IDF ground commanders accepted the offer. Please drop bombs on us. We would love that. Finding targets for their jets, and the initiative was subsequently rolled out more widely across the 12-day campaign because, Donald Trump already marketed it's the 12-day war, folks. 12 days. That's all we got. It can't be 13. It's 12. 12-day war. Mark it down in the history books. It meant Israel was able to a large extent to sustain the intensity of its airstrikes in Gaza despite the main focus of the IDF having shifted to Iran. The military insisted that despite the initial spontaneity of the scheme, all such strikes were properly planned and conducted. Yeah, man, it sounds really planned and conducted. Trump's top Middle East priority is ending the war in Gaza, well, except for that bombing run. What's a bomb here and there? What's a bomb between friends? Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and United States President Donald Trump might look to take a victory lap on Monday after their recent joint strikes. It wasn't a joint strike. Donald Trump was actually trying, supposedly, I gotta say that, supposedly, trying to make a peace deal with Iran. And we have one of two options. Either make it three options. He was trying to make a peace deal, or he was using a peace deal as a distraction for Bibi Netanyahu to do a strike behind their back. So either one of those. He was trying to make a deal because he loves to make it art of the deal, art of the squeal, art of the steal. He's behind the scenes, faking the funk, pretending like, yeah, man, we're absolutely going to do a deal, man. That's how he got Qasem Soleimani back in 2020. He said, hey, Iran, we're trying to make a deal. We're going to smooth things over. Meet us in Iraq and we'll make the deal, okay? And then Qasem Soleimani, who at the time was literally fighting ISIS, went to Iraq and then they assassinated him. So it is a distinct possibility that Donald Trump was faking this recent, bullshit with peace with Iran, so Benjamin Netanyahu could fire those missiles behind his back and start firing on Iran proper and killing a lot of civilians in Tehran. Maybe that was the plan altogether. Who knows? Donald Trump lies like he breathes, so it's hard to really know. But as they met at the White House for the third time this year, the outwardly triumphant visit will be dogged by Israel's 21-month war against Hamas in Gaza. It's not a war, it's a genocide. You're fighting people with firecrackers and fireworks displays. People in Gaza don't have an airport. They don't have a standing military. They don't have missiles. Whatever. Trump has made it clear that following last month's 12-day war between Israel and Iran, he would like to see the Gaza conflict end soon so he can build a resort there. I added that part. The meeting between Trump and Netanyahu could give new urgency to a U.S. ceasefire proposal being discussed by Israel and Hamas. By the way, last month, Hamas offered, we will lay down our weapons, we will give up all the hostages that are still alive, the ones that IDF bombs didn't kill, and we will leave Gaza altogether. Drop our weapons, give up the hostages, and leave Gaza forever if you promise don't occupy Gaza permanently. And Israel said, no, of course not, man. We need our boogeyman. If you guys go away, then who are we going to bitch and complain about? And then I'm going to get in trouble because I'm going to be voted out of office. And then I'm going to be, I'm going to be called up on corruption charges. The corruption charges that were about to take hold of Netanyahu before October 7th happened. I don't know if you guys remember, but before October 7th, there was a lot of Israeli people on the streets protesting against Netanyahu because of what he did by defanging their Supreme Court. And because they were accusing him of corruption and they were going to try him. And all of a sudden, October 7th happens. I'm not saying that that's, this is like a false flag or anything, but October 7th happened. It's rally around the leader time. And all of the thoughts of getting Netanyahu out of office or trying him for his criminality is all gone. And just before the bombing started in Tehran by Israel, he was about to get voted out of office again. And then the bombing happened, and then Iran retaliated, and then yet again, nobody's talking about getting rid of Bibi Netanyahu. So now they're doing their victory lap, and he's hanging out at the White House, and he's getting glad-handed by the president, and they're both jerking each other off, telling each other how great things are, and we can't wait to get rid of all of the people in Gaza, either exterminate them or, ethnically cleanse them so we can have a permanent Jewish state, and then we're going to turn Gaza into a beach resort area. Before departing for Washington on Sunday, Netanyahu praised the cooperation with the United States for bringing a huge victory over our shared enemy. He struck a positive note on the ceasefire in Gaza, saying he has worked to achieve the deal under discussion on the terms that we agreed to. By the way, this ceasefire that Donald Trump, said that he got, it was a ceasefire deal between him and Netanyahu. Hamas wasn't even in the room. It wasn't on a phone call. They had nothing to do with it. It's like that whole thing that happened a couple months ago with Pakistan and India. Donald Trump goes, I made a deal and they stopped fighting. And then you talk to officials at both India and Pakistan, and they both said, Donald Trump didn't call us. He didn't talk to us. We don't know nothing about that shit. So Donald Trump will just continue to fucking lie. I made a deal, ceasefire in Gaza. Hamas doesn't really matter. I talked to Bibi and everything is fine. It's a big old ceasefire, folks. I mean, every once in a while he's going to have to drop a bomb because, he's Bibi Netanyahu. He loves the bombs, folks. I think the discussion with the President Trump can certainly help advance the result, which all of us are hoping for. God damn it. Is there anything else I got on this thing? Oh, yeah. Just so you know, the sentiment in America, not quite what Donald Trump and Bibi Netanyahu think it is.
Size more with Israelis or Palestinians. In 2017, the Democratic Party was a pro-Israeli party. Look at this. They sympathized with the Israelis by 13 points, more with the Israelis than the Palestinians. But look at this sea change. Now Democrats sympathize more with the Palestinians by 43 points. Oh my God, that is a change in the margin of 56 points over the course of just 8 years. So all of a sudden...
It ain't just 8 years, honey. It's the last 20 months. That's when the sentiment changed. October 7th was a tragedy. It was awful. It was terrible. Many people died. It was terrorism. It was terrible. It was absolutely awful. But every day since, it has been a slaughter of the Gazan people. They are starving them. They're not letting food, water, electricity, medicine, nothing goes in. Between Ben-Gvir, Smotrich, and Bibi Netanyahu, they have done war crime after war crime. The International Criminal Court says it is a genocide and that they have a warrant out for Bibi Netanyahu's arrest. Of course, he can travel in and out of America with no fucking problem. But, internationally, he is a wanted man. Every day since October 7th, every day has been a tragedy, a disaster well beyond what happened on October 7th. About 1,200 people died on October 7th, about half civilians, half soldiers. Ever since then, the official number is around 60,000 people. Even if we give them the 60,000 number, which is an astronomical undercount, but even if we gave them that, 1,200 people to 60,000 people, how much revenge do you want? Because that's ultimately what this is. For Bibi Netanyahu, it's a political thing, so he can stay in office and he continue to expand Israel for a greater Israel. They've taken parts of Libya. They've taken parts of Syria. Donald Trump gave him the Golan Heights. Donald Trump, for 2016, he got $100 million from Sheldon Adelson. And in his first term, he moved the United States Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. And he, as a bonus, he gave them the Golan Heights. which is part of Syria. He wasn't his to give, but he gave it to him anyway. In 2020, Sheldon Adelson gave him another $100 million. Of course, he didn't win in 2020, but Sheldon Adelson died between 2020 and 2024. But Miriam Adelson, his wife, gave Donald Trump another $100 million. I mean, Elon Musk gave like $280 million, but Miriam Adelson gave him $100 million to run in 2024 in the hopes, not in the hopes, the deal, the quid pro quo is now we want the West Bank. By the way, West Bank doesn't have Hamas. It's not run by Hamas. Hamas is, maybe they are listed now as a terrorist organization, but Hamas is the governing body in Gaza, not in the West Bank. That is the Palestinian Authority. So there is no Hamas in the West Bank, but yet we are sending settlers there, and the IDF is kicking people out of their home. They're bulldozing homes, and then they're filling up the place with American Jewish people that are being paid to go to the West Bank to take over the area and kick people out of their homes, which is against international law and all the peace treaties that we've had. But that was the deal. That was the quid pro quo for the last $100 million that he got from Miriam Adelson. What we are doing in Gaza, what we are doing to Palestinian people is a genocide. We are ethnically cleansing them from the area, and we are killing them and starving them. How many video images do we need to see of blown up children? How many emaciated little babies do we need to see before we turn? I mean, I showed you the polling, according to, to CNN in that particular poll, they have dropped 50 points worth of approval. More people support the Palestinians than they do the Likud party in Israel. And keep in mind, I am not criticizing Jewish people. And by the way, when I hear them say, we need to make, Israel safe for Jews. Honey, I think the most dangerous place on the planet for Jewish people is Israel. More bombs get lobbed there for reasons than anywhere else. Jewish people are way safer here in America. But when I hear them say, that this is a war, it's not a genocide. When I hear them say that, this is not ethnic cleansing, hey, we got to get rid of Hamas. We can't stop. We got to get rid of Hamas. Hamas, terrorist. Hamas. Meanwhile, Donald Trump's like, we're going to own Gaza, and we're going to have a beach resort there. It's going to be amazing. We're going to have a Trump hotel. Me and Bibi are going to be sitting by the pool drinking Mai Tais and rubbing lotion on each other's backs. It's disgusting, man. It's absolutely disgusting. And Netanyahu continuing to come to this country is an affront to all Jewish people. It is. That right there is the real anti-Semitism. By saying that Jewish people, American Jewish people, they're not really Americans because they have loyalty to Israel. That is the Republican Party and Donald Trump being anti-Semitic. Jewish people in America are Americans. This is their country. They don't need to show loyalty to another country. It's like the New York election recently with Mondami and all of the news people going, well, do you think that Israel has a right to exist? And he answers, he's like, yeah, man, Israel has a right to exist as a democratic state with equality for everyone. Yeah, man, we don't want an ethnic Jewish state. I don't want an American Christian state. I don't want Saudi Arabia to be a Muslim state. I don't think that any fundamentalist religion should run a country. But so many people, politicians in America, are bought and paid for by the Israel lobby and AIPAC. And they have more loyalty to that country in the Middle East than they do their own fucking country. And telling a Muslim man like Zoran Mandami, well, why aren't you going to go visit Israel? He's like, do you know what they do to Muslims in Israel? You fucking crazy? I mean, that's like a slap in the fucking face. Why aren't you going to go visit Israel? Because they'll kill me in Israel. I'm a Muslim man. Even though he's not Palestinian, he happens to be Muslim, but that's enough. Donald Trump's calling him a commie, and, we need to deport him. And so many representatives are already talking about finding a way to denaturalize him and deport him. Put him in Bukele's dungeon. You're going to send him to the South fucking Sudan. Muslim hate in this country is alive and well. After 9/11, it was around for many years after 9/11, and we thought that maybe, we kind of walked that back. No, man, it was just laying dormant. It's still here. To this very day, that is the only group of people that we have absolutely free reign to be racist and bigoted towards. And, it's like, well, they hate the gays and, they throw the gays off of rooftops. What roofs, man? What rooftops are you talking about? You mean the ones that have all been leveled to the ground by the IDF? Stop using that rainbow bullshit on people like me. It doesn't work, man. Death, destruction, starving of children, that trumps everything else. No pun intended. Anyway, I could ramble on about this for a while, but goddamn, I'm just so sick of Bibi Netanyahu's bullshit. But Trump's his boy, and Trump was bought and paid for by the Adelsons, and Bibi Netanyahu is dog walking him on a leash, and Donald Trump is too fucking dumb to know any better. The peace guy is happy to drop bombs if Bibi Netanyahu wanted him to. And he did. And he attacked a country that didn't attack us and possibly stoked a new conflict that could last for years and years because of Bibi Netanyahu's bigoted ideas and his nature. He is a horrible human. The Likud party sucks. Ben Gvir and Smotrich, they all need to be locked up in The Hague. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please like and subscribe. Keep rocking.